Welcome to Community Inspired, a podcast that explores the ideas and innovations shaping where and how we live. Brought to you by 5 Point, this podcast celebrates the Santa Clarita Valley and the people who make up the fabric of this incredibly special community. I'm Randy James. The Santa Clarita Valley is a unique corner of LA County with one of the most dynamic economies anywhere in Southern California. This growing region is home to headquarters for household name companies like Sunkist and Princess Cruises, along with lesser-known but flourishing businesses in aerospace, biotech, advanced manufacturing, entertainment, and more. And the region continues to innovate. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the Santa Clarita Valley's economy, what it's built on, what's driving it forward, and what may lie ahead. To help guide us, we're joined by 3 experts on the topic that I'm very excited to speak with. We have Ondre Seltzer, President and CEO of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, Nancy Hoffman Vanyek, President and CEO of the San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce, and David Rendell, a broker, owner, and commercial property investor at RE/MAX in Santa Clarita. Welcome to you all. Very glad you're here.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So maybe, Ondre, to kick it off with you.
Sure.
Let's do a little role playing. Let's say I'm a business owner from outside the region considering a move to the Santa Clarita Valley. What is your pitch for me to bring my business here? What does it offer?
So Santa Clarita Valley is, an oasis in California that when we're looking at the wider landscape currently in regards to businesses that are looking to leave California, they still need access to the world's 4th largest economy. Well, Santa Clarita Valley offers a pro-business environment. We're lucky at the Santa Clarita Valley EDC to have LA County and the city of Santa Clarita on our board of directors, which means that we're able to address 3 main items that I think are really important to businesses looking to expand and grow, not just in California, but also nationally. That is time to market, being able to get into market quickly, cost in market, and also addressing workforce. All 3 areas we can work with clients with a tailored approach to support their growth. We've seen businesses like DrinkPack continue to grow, and even though they are expanding nationally, that has a continued positive impact on the local footprint here in Santa Clarita. We have Logix Federal Credit Union, who have expanded and relocated here to Santa Clarita, being able to retain over 90% of their workforce. So just those 2 examples alone showcase how companies continue to expand, thrive here in the Valley.
Ondre, before we go any further, I want to pause for a moment. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that you're not a native of the Santa Clarita.
Well, my accent might have given that away. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about where you're from originally and what brought you here.
Sure. So I've been in the U.S. for over half my life. I came to Santa Clarita 10 years ago to visit a close friend of mine, fell in love with the community, and never dreamed I'd be running the EDC here in Santa Clarita. But what I found is that my passion for economic development has been going on for over 10 years. Started my career in the British government, working in the British Foreign Office, working down in LA, then worked actually worked for the competing states. So I understand how the sausage is made, what other states are doing. Worked on the big TSMC deal in Arizona with the Federal CHIPS Act appropriations. And then my passion's always been California. This is my home. This is the first place I came to in the United States as an immigrant. And Santa Clarita Valley is one of those places that really makes me, as a person with a family himself, feel like I have a good school system, good quality of life, and a place that I think we can continue to attract the right investment that fits Santa Clarita. So my role now today is to continue that tradition that we had under my predecessor, Holly Schroeder, in supporting new businesses coming here, but bringing some of my additional experience as well, working in supply chains, working in emerging sectors, looking at foreign direct investment, and trying to make that a good fit for the right businesses here, both in retention and attraction.
Fantastic. Thank you. Nancy, I understand your roots in this region are a little bit deeper than Ondre's. You've led the San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce since 1993, is that right?
I've led it, but I've been there since 1987, so I have almost 40 years in the chamber industry.
That is remarkable. Tell us, how has the Santa Clarita Valley changed over that time?
So, when I first started my chamber role, I was still living in the San Fernando Valley. And then they started building up Santa Clarita. And this is my funny story with it. So my husband bought a house and didn't tell me. We were just engaged. And he wanted to go on a drive. And we're driving up Sierra Highway, and there's nothing there except Eternal Valley. Stater Brothers wasn't there. Cal Islands was still in that area. So I live in that little area, that pocket of Santa Clarita that's Newhall by zip code, Canyon Country by location. And there was nothing. And now, you have the whole area up on Golden Valley, which I can walk to. It's a good mile uphill, but I can walk to it. And there's everything around us. And I agree with how he called it an oasis, because I feel like, we're still part of LA County, but we're like this nice pocket.
A very nice pocket. I hope you like the house, by the way.
Well, yeah, I'm still there. We haven't moved from it, but yeah, I do like the house.
Okay, that's good to hear. David, as a business owner in the Santa Clarita Valley, tell us a little bit about what your experience is to do business here.
Yeah, so it's amazing to do business here. So I've been a resident since 1988. Came out here, went to high school at Canyon High School, living in Sand Canyon, and same story. There's nothing out here. Mom and Dad, why did you move out here? Well, we have horses.
Yeah, we moved in 88 too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So.
So I worked at Hughes Markets at the age of 16 and drove across town. Nothing was here. And so I ended up going to College of the Canyons, which is a great community college. And I was in the Height Honors program at the time, transferred to UCLA, finished UCLA. And then what's really kind of cool about the story is after I went to law school, I came back and taught at College of the Canyons. So I used to teach real estate principles practices. So I got to see kind of the expansion of the college over the years, which has been absolutely spectacular. So for me, living and raising my family here, it's just pure quality of life. It's a great environment to live, work, and play. And so for us in the residential side of it, we see people that, could be employees in the reverse commuting, and all of a sudden they fall in love with our town because they see great schools, these really interconnected communities, amazing amenities, and they're like, heck, I'm working at Logix, or I'm working at Vallarta, or I'm working at Drink Pack. And all of a sudden they say, but I could move to Santa Clarita, have more affordability, put my kids in public schools, and the employer loves it because their employee becomes more productive. And if you have a hybrid model where you have to commute, you're only 30 miles from LA. I mean, we're 50 minutes from the beaches. I could go on. How much time do we have? 90 minutes each?
I want to piggyback on that. So my nephew just moved from Santa Cruz and moved in with us. He's 22. And one reason why is he wanted to go to College of the Canyons because he's doing kinesiology. And he doesn't have a car. And I thought, how the heck are you going to get around without a car? I never realized how robust our transportation system is. He left our house today. He took the bus to the College of the Canyons satellite office on Sierra Highway, takes it from there to the gym, takes it back to our house. And I'm like, I don't know how to get around that way. And I'm a runner. I could run through all of our paseos, but I would never be able to figure out that bus. And now that he lives here, I'm like, he gets everywhere fast.
Yeah, and to that point, I think Dave touched on something really important. I've never worked, and I've been doing economic development for a while, where quality of life is such an important component to attracting the decision makers with the businesses that we're working with to Santa Clarita. And being able to have that, the good schools, the safety aspect, the transportation. Also, Santa Clarita is the third largest city in LA County, which most people don't realize, yet we operate like a small town community, which allows a lot of innovation, synergy. We have employers who have worked closely together. And I know, Dave, you were on our Economic Outlook panel where Drink Pack and LA North Studios work together on working with their businesses on storage, for example, just because, be able to know each of these executives. So we have this kind of really important thing that you would have seen back in Silicon Valley back in the day, this collaborative approach in Santa Clarita, which makes it just such a special place for people to live and run a business.
So, Ondre, just to stay with you for a moment, let's get under the hood a little bit. I mean, what is the state of the Santa Clarita Valley economy, would you say? What grade would you give it on a report card? How are we doing?
I'll give it an A++, of course. But on a serious note, one of the benefits of being in Santa Clarita, we have a diverse set of industries. So we have aerospace and defense. We have the media and entertainment landscape. We also have life sciences, advanced manufacturing, technology, and HQ locates here in Santa Clarita. We're seeing a lot of opportunities around the aerospace and defense sector. Seeing a lot of opportunities around the life sciences space and attracting new businesses, where we've seen challenges in the leasing of office space. We see for Class A office, the life sciences sector specifically still taking on some of that demand, which has been really healthy. So when we think of the Valencia town center, or we think of other areas where there's Class A office, where we can potentially put those new emerging sectors. This year, with tariffs, with various other challenging uncertainties of businesses, we've definitely seen a pullback on hiring. But at the same time, the EDC, whenever there's a challenge, we were formed 15 years ago. And by the way, I failed to mention this is our 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
But we were formed literally out of 2008 recession. And so when we face challenges, the EDC is specifically geared towards helping businesses, helping the community overcome those. So the good news is we have a diverse set of sectors. So if one sector isn't doing as well one year, we have another sector to offset that as well and attract those businesses. And then we continue to plug in the workforce, working with College of the Canyons around apprenticeships, driving down costs in those 3 areas that I mentioned earlier. So I give it a high rating and a lot of opportunity ahead.
And, something else that strikes me about the Santa Clarita Valley, Nancy, is the educated workforce. So it sounds like the stat I saw was that 72% of Santa Clarita Valley residents have completed some college, which is a very high percentage. I mean, that must make it attractive for employers.
I definitely think it's attractive for employers, but I also think in a sense it's attractive for employees as well, because you kind of want to go to the businesses if you have an education that's hiring people that have an education. So for the employers, it's kind of like a lot of synergistic opportunities there. Because I know as an employer, I mean, there's nothing wrong with not having a degree if you have a lot of, what do you want to say, boots on the ground work. But sometimes that education geared to a certain industry really helps you, what do you want to say, move up in that business. And I think the employers have an opportunity, especially like we mentioned College of the Canyons a few times. It's also a great feeder school to CSUN. They have a lot of partnerships.
And Nancy, I just want to touch on that as well. The Heart District as well, being able to work K through 12, how we provide education and knowledge to the parents and the students of what career opportunities are available to them. We obviously, our primary goal is to support new employment opportunities, attract new employees, retain employment. But it also is part of educating the workforce, providing workforce talent pipelines through K through 12 to the college and beyond.
And David, just from your perspective as a business owner, I mean, Santa Clarita is often called one of the most business-friendly cities anywhere in LA County. And has that been your experience, or what is it like to actually operate and run a business here?
Yeah, so running a business, brokerage, we have an escrow company. We also have a commercial investment management firm, and so we own some property in downtown Newhall, and in the process of working with city council and the city and the county and seeing what they've done to basically invest into downtown Newhall by building the library and other things is incredible. So, and the other thing I see out here is there's a lot of kind of support local. Mm-hmm. So you've got business owners that say, hey, it's interesting. So we have almost 300,000 people here, like Ondre said, we're the third largest city in the county. And when you think of 300,000 people, it sounds like a big city. But this community is very interconnected. Reputation matters. People know each other. They know the fellow business owners. They support those business owners. So, and people love connections. A quick story, like I was playing pickleball yesterday up in Skyline, and this gentleman who was in real estate for 37 years in Burbank, he actually moved out here, and he bought in Altus, which is a 55-plus community in Skyline. It's a great community. And he says, you know what, Burbank's a great city. I dedicated my life in real estate there. I own property there. He says, I came out here, and I saw the open space, which we have over 4,000 acres of open space out here. He says, I went to this facility, the amenities and the community and the paseos and the hiking trails. He says, there's this peace and calm out here. Now, he's a little different story because he's retired, but he saw Santa Clarita, just like as Ondre said, this oasis and this island.
I have friends that come out, we go hiking, and they can't believe everything we have here. And it's at our fingertips, which I think also drives the economy, which is what we're talking about, right? People come out, and they don't have to leave our community. You could go on a hike, go to breakfast afterward with your friends, go shopping.
Mm-hmm. And that helps instill a real sense of Santa Clarita Valley pride, as
right.
you're saying. Yet the border of LA is 10 miles away. I mean, we're very close to
Right, very close.
all the amenities of a large city.
Well, and that whole thing about doing business local, I mean, obviously I run a chamber of commerce in the San Fernando Valley where I grew up, but I live here and I support my local community. And like I go every farmer's market, pretty much every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can find me at some farmer's market, if not all 3 or 4 now. You know, I want to support all those farmers. I want to go to like all the stores I want to go to. I want to go to the strawberry and fig craft fair so I could support these local artisans and everything. Because I want our community to be strong. And to do that, we have to shop local.
And to give credit to our city, just real quick, when you look at what this city does, so as RE/MAX, we sponsor some local events too as one of the sponsorships, but they do this great thing called Census on Thursdays, and it's in downtown Newhall, and you get thousands of people that come out and support a theme, and then they obviously support local, go to the restaurants and the bars and whatever else is down there, Lemley Theater, but they also do concerts in the park. I think we have, 39 parks or something, and then the city just took over Hard Park, right? Correct, so yeah. That's more. And then they do something amazing called Light Up on Main in November, and it's the annual Christmas tree lighting. When they first started it, I think they had about 6,000 or 7,000 people. Last year, 12,000 people went to downtown Newhall to support.
Well, and to this point, you know, with regards to the 5 Point development, you've got 3.5 million square feet of commercial development potentially going in. It's really important from our perspective. When we look at long-term employment opportunities, we've got to have a place to put them.
And talking about how the economy is doing, industrial vacancy rates have been historically low out here. So as it builds out, it's risen a little bit, but we're filling that space. And what we've done really good in this community, the developers, is have this sustainable growth where you don't just have residential communities. You have residential, you have retail, and then you have this industrial factor, which is bringing out, the employee base, and people are filling these spaces, and to see big deals like Logix moving their headquarters and building a 450,000 square foot building, seeing Vallarta do the transaction that they bought the 3 office buildings is fantastic. And one thing on 5 Point, I take my e-bike from Westridge and I drive down to the farmers market on Sunday, and you can't believe they did such an incredible job with Confluence Park. The systems there, and the people are out doing e-bikes, and some of them have golf carts, and it's just this communal kind of concept is really working. I'm just telling you, people are outside, they're on their bikes, they're walking with their kids, with their dogs. It's kind of cool to see.
I think that's such an attraction if you're going to have people move here for jobs, because you were talking about all these great things we have, and I have friends who literally say, there's nowhere to work in Santa Clarita. There's no, they think of everything as the mall and all the retail. They don't see all of our industrial because they don't go into the industrial center. They may pass it on the 5 freeway.
It's a very outdated view.
Right. It's a very outdated view. And I live, where I live, I could see Drink Pack when I drive through Golden Valley Connector and everything. And I'm thinking there is so much opportunity out here for jobs that was not out here in 1988. You had to go somewhere else.
So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of strength. At the same time, maybe we should spend a minute to talk about maybe some of the headwinds that the economy is facing as well. And you touched on those a little bit earlier, whether it's we're in a regime of tariffs right now, interest rates, high costs, hesitant consumers. The entertainment industry is facing severe headwinds. Ondre, how are you seeing those concerns play out here locally? And if I were to hand you a wand and let you start implementing policy measures that would perhaps make a difference when it comes to addressing some of those challenges, where would you go with it?
When we look at this holistically, when we look at the economy, you're right to touch on the media entertainment landscape. We've seen, obviously, this is something we're actively engaged in. We have the Media Entertainment Collaborative through the EDC. We had the California Film and Television Tax Credit that's part of the budget approved by the governor's office to expand that tax credit to up to $750 million. And portion of that is also a refundable tax credit. It's one of the first refundable tax credits we've seen in the state. I mentioned earlier, and I hope it's not held against me, but I have worked for for other states and seen how that's done, and a lot of them have refundable tax credits. So one of the things there's a benefit in looking long term is how do we look at refundable tax credits to help companies offset some of their capital expenses as they establish operations, where they have limited tax liabilities in the state, to benefit from those potential options, which we don't currently have in California.
Well, I want to jump in on this because all these other countries and other states, they also have local hire requirements, which we do not in California. Right. So all the tax credits are great, but we can't compete as well with Georgia or the UK when they're saying you have to hire 70% local.
But on that point, I'm glad you brought up Georgia. So Georgia is having its own challenges in regards to workforce quality. That is where when I talked on those three areas, workforce, cost in market, time to market, that applies to the same thing in the film and entertainment industry as well. And so we have to look at it holistically, like you're talking about. How do we address the workforce challenges? How do we train the next talent? I also want to look at as well the fact that, yes, we've faced tariffs, which is not necessarily have a direct impact, but has a uncertainty for businesses who are looking to hire and trying to figure out what is the next year going to look like for them. So, we're not going to have all the answers at the local level. Let's be realistic about that. But what we have a foreign trade zone, FTZ 191. That foreign trade zone could potentially benefit some of those businesses by deferring some of their tax obligations. They could locate suppliers to those locations, which is an additional attraction play, bringing those suppliers having participate as part of that FTZ. There's so many more things I could go over, but I don't know, Nancy or Dave, if you have anything.
The studio. So what's great about Santa Clarita is we're in the 30-mile film radius. Right. And so we've got Santa Clarita Studios, you've got LA North Studio, you've got Melody Ranch, you've got a lot of other studios. So they're present here. And we notice, as being owners in Newhall, there's tons of filming in Newhall and these surrounding areas. So, it's important to our economy. I was going to touch on, because you said, well, what are some of the challenges? Well, some of the challenges in our market is just overall affordability in California and where the median home price is. The other challenges are there's been such a lack of inventory. So if you look historically over the last 3 years, we've had the lowest existing home sales in the United States since 1995. We're averaging about 4.1 million home sales. Back in 2021, to give you perspective, we had 6.2 million existing home sales in the United States. So people say, well, why is that happening? Part of it is affordability, difficulty for first-time home buyers getting in the market. Second thing is people talk about the when's the silver tsunami coming? All these baby boomers, why haven't they sold their homes? Well, there's a concept in our business, and it's called the golden handcuffs, and it means that they're locked in very low interest rates, and so they've stalled their empty nest, right? They've stalled moving because of these things. And so what we're seeing is insurance costs have gone through the roof. Interest rates have been higher than they have been for a long time. So we know there's pent-up demand, and as those interest rates get closer to 6% and below, it will bring about 5.5 million people back into the market from an affordability perspective on a national level. That's different in California. California, if you look at affordability, we're about 16-17%, and median home price is better in Santa Clarita, but still quite high. So those are some of the challenges on the real estate side.
And, I'm hearing from small businesses, and actually medium-sized businesses, that their customers are being a lot more hesitant right now. They're citing the rising cost of insurance, the uncertainty. If the people aren't spending the money, because that's how economy works, right? I get paid, I go shop at your store, you get paid, you go shop at his store. It starts to slow down, and that's what's scaring people right now.
And we've gotten to this point. We haven't even mentioned AI so far in this conversation.
Right.
So that might come up.
Well, by the way, I'm a big AI user. I could teach a whole class to all of you right now. But
I think people find it an incredible tool, but also introduces uncertainty into the employment future.
Well, but the caution of all these things, it ripples through the business community, right? Of all these things, I just said how basic economy works, whether it's retail, restaurants, home development, people building a new office building, it has a ripple through effect. And you're right, AI does play into it, but AI is not, I don't care. Everyone's afraid that AI is going to displace people. If you use AI as the right tool, it's going to help expand your business. And you can use it for so many different things. And people have been using AI for years. People sit there and say, oh, AI is so new. Grammarly, what I used in college for my grammar, is considered an AI tool. So, AI has been around. It's just now Chatty G, as I call her, Chatty G came out, and, she's everyone's best friend, but she's not always accurate, right? And so you need different types of AI tools for different things. I really redid a whole bedroom with ChatGPT. So it does amazing things, but it doesn't displace the interior designer who actually measures the room and made sure the furniture fit.
I want to touch on just quickly AI. I look at it more from automation. AI. So there's three areas we're measuring: job creation, the type of positions, the quality of those jobs, and the capital investment that goes into the community. So when we think of AI, automation, California went through a real tough phase with remote work, and that had shifted the landscape for us and made it more competitive. So we operate in a more competitive environment when it comes to attracting retaining businesses, retaining supply chains, and also retaining our workforce. So we are prepared, and we continue to move forward in addressing those key challenges in a few main areas. When we talk about AI automation, I think at this point there's a lot of opportunities. We've seen it with the Industrial Revolution in the past, where when we think of the Industrial Revolution, many people's jobs did disappear, but then new positions were created. And then we moved to a service-based economy.
So let's use that as a segue to talk about the future, which is really the last main topic I'd like to talk about. When you all look out 5 years, 10 years, Ondre, what does your crystal ball tell you as far as the state of the Santa Clarita Valley economy, and also what are you most excited about that you see coming down the road for the future in the Valley?
I think Santa Clarita Valley has benefits from a few things. It has access to the world's fourth largest economy, which is the state of California. It also benefits from the world's 21st largest economy, which is LA County, which most people don't realize. And then you have this sense of innovation. And innovation is becoming remote. And we are, yes, I guess, a suburban community. When people come to Santa Clarita, they often think of Six Flags, but there's so much more to Santa Clarita than just one employer. We've got the aerospace and defense industry. We continue to look at how can we look at incubating new technologies. We've got decentralized finance, blockchain technologies, AI. We've even got this cool thing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. You know, the Jetsons electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles.
Archer and
Joby, who I've worked with in the past when I worked in aviation, and so, which I failed to mention in my intro. But again, there's a changing landscape, and I think I don't have a crystal ball to say exactly where we're going to be, but our population is going to continue to grow. We're going to have additional inventory from projects like Five Point and Sunridge and many other developments coming online. So I'm overall optimistic. We have headwinds, we have tailwinds, we have economic uncertainty, but that's where opportunities are created. And I think if we look at 15 years ago, the EDC has created 23, with its partners, 1,000 jobs in the time frame since the Great Recession. Supported over 174 business to be attracted to Santa Clarita. I think we're going to continue to see that. We've got additional inventory coming online, and I think I'm very optimistic about that.
David, what is exciting to you about the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so I think we're in a great opportunistic zone here, and I think so I'm a board member of SCV EDC as well, so I get to talk with 50 local business owners and be involved with the city and the county, and the collaboration between city, county, private sector, SCV EDC is really second to none. And so, you look at what is the proposed development in Santa Clarita, both in the commercial and residential sectors, and it points to really good positive growth. I'm pro. My bet is on Santa Clarita.
I think that's a great place to wrap up. Ondre, Nancy, David, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time on Community Inspired.